All right, man. NFL insider for Fanside Matt. I think it's Lombardo. Hopefully, I pronounced that right. Recently named 6 teams that Davante Adams could go to. The Lions being one of them. I think it was the Cleveland, Dallas, the 49ers, the Lions, the Browns, and the Packers were the 6 teams that could trade for Davante Adams. Right now, the Raiders ain't looking too good. They did come back, versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, but the Pittsburgh Steelers ain't that good, and they came up a little bit short. But they beat the Denver Broncos, which ain't saying much, especially when the Dolphins just dropped a 70-piece McNugget on their head. But apparently, Davante is saying that they ain't playing winning football. It's kind of been disgruntled. He ain't the only one. Chandler Jones has been disgruntled in Las Vegas overall. He also said that, because I talked about the Lions trading for him earlier, right before the season. He also said that Josh McDaniels contacted his baby mama behind his back or something like that. Now, apparently, side note, Chandler Jones got into some trouble where the Las Vegas fire department admitted him, I read, allegedly admitted him against his will, allegedly, into a mental institution. So I don't know if it's CTE going on there or some type of conspiracy theory, but ain't too much, good been coming to the Raiders since they've been in LA. I mean, you had the whole thing where Henry Ruggs, he just got sentenced to prison. I forgot what his sentence was. It wasn't that bad neither. But no, nonetheless, I mean, a lot of people was talking about Mike Evans dropping the ball the other night with Baker Mayfield. Some of them balls he had to jump up to get. Some of them was routine. He had some routine, drops. And a lot of times with Mike Evans, a lot of the drops come from running a route tree, stopping and coming back to the ball. He's great at what the Lions would need him to do, which would be run vertically like Randy Moss did and catch deep balls. Pause. That's what he is good at. Okay? That's what Randy was. And people saw Randy the greatest receiver of all time, which is cap. I love Randy Moss. You know what I'm saying? Love him and Chris Carter in Minnesota when I was a kid watching them play. But that's cap. Randy Moss couldn't run the route tree. Randy Moss wasn't going across the middle. Randy Moss wasn't doing the blocking and the nasty work underneath like a Jerry Rice, a Calvin, and Larry Fitzgerald did. What he did vertically was great. And it's the same thing Mike Evans is known for doing. What Mike Evans do vertically is fantastic. It is truly, truly fantastic. And what he does, down the field. But once you start, putting them on timing routes and underneath, you need them to do some things underneath. Then you kind of start seeing the drops come when he got to run those breaking routes and them routes like that. And because guess what? They're going to start sagging off of them, off the deep ball. So now you're going to take your chances. Like, if you got somebody that's naturally right-handed, you're going to make him go left. You're going to take your chances, even though he's good with his left, but he's not naturally left, so I'm going to take my chances. Same thing. I'm going to take the deep ball away from him, pause, and I'm making work underneath where my percentages are better that he might drop it, fumble it, or maybe not even get a target. So that's just one way you kind of got to look at it as well, too. But with Davante Adams, he's a timing pattern receiver. He's 30. He'll be 31 December 24th. The intriguing thing about Davante Adams, contract wise, after next season, the 2024 season, he has a potential out in his contract, which more times than not is going to be reworked because his base salary after, if you continue his contract, is $35 million a year. So wherever he go is going to be reworked. Now he's not happy with the Raiders. Players are not tend to be happy playing for former Patriot coaches. Josh McDaniels is out there sucking out there in Vegas again. He keep getting chance again. He got a chance with the Indianapolis Colts again until he pulled out at the last minute. So he's not head coach material. Now they could be tanking to get Caleb Williams. That'd be very interesting for Caleb Williams to go out there. Financially, it's lucrative, and I think Chicago is the team. I think Chicago might be the only team that ain't won a game. If we start running through the league, everybody in NFC North won one. I think Carolina has not won one, have they? So I think Carolina hasn't won one. Giants, Cowboys, Eagles, Commanders all won. Seahawks, 49ers, Rams. Who else in that division? Cardinals all 1-1. Steelers, Ravens, Browns, Bengals all 1-1. The Bengals just got on the board. Everybody in the AFC South won one. The Titans got one. The Texans got one. The Colts lead the division. Obviously, they got one. Jacksonville won one. Then you go to the East. The Jets, they won their first game. The Bills won. The Dolphins undefeated. The Patriots won a game. You go to the AFC West. Kansas City obviously won. We talked about the Raiders beating the Broncos. I think the Broncos haven't won a game. And then you have the who else in there? The Chargers. They want to beat Minnesota. So Minnesota, the Broncos, and the Bears are the 3 winless teams right now. So don't be surprised if you hear Kirk Cousins talk about if they can create some type of money going to the Jets or something like that. But Davante Adams, he can beat you deep. Pause. He can run the route timing pattern. As far as the options there, you would have Davante tied up for 1 more year. They roughly around the same age. I know Mike Evans is 30. Player for player, Davante is better. But when you start talking about specializing in what you need, Mike Evans is exactly what you need. You need somebody to be able to go beat guys vertically and stretch the field along with Jameson Williams and Josh Reynolds. That's kind of just what you need. But with Davante, kind of similar to DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, he can go deep. He can run the route tree. He can secure, you secure him for another year under the deal. Will he be a little bit more draft rich? Absolutely. You're going to give up a little bit more for him, but what he can do in those gray areas and beyond, I mean, you go for it. I mean, also Cooper Kupp might be available if he able to get healthy and come back. If they continue to lose games, he get healthy, he might be available. It'll be a little bit more riskier because I forget what his injury is, but right now, Davante, even with Cooper Kupp, just because he injured, would be the top priority. I think Cooper Kupp is a little bit younger, so maybe you want to kind of roll the dice on that end of it. But yeah, I would see where we're at in a week or two. I mean, we going to Green Bay this week. I don't know who we got next week. Is it Tampa or somebody like that? Maybe Chicago, Tampa, or something like that. See kind of how the next couple games go. And if, let's just say we're in a position where we well above 500, I'm going for it. Now, am I giving up a first-round pick? No. Am I willing to give up some middle rounds? Absolutely. If I'm willing to give up a second and a fifth and something like that, maybe. So, they got the money. I mean, obviously, you would love to be able to see if an Aaron Donald became available and see if you could plug him in with that defense or that defensive tackle became available. But yeah, I will consider it. You add him to St. Brown, you add him to Jameson Williams, but also you kind of want to give a peek at what Jameson Williams is going to bring to the table as well too. I guarantee you, if you add Jameson Williams to the mix, guess what's going to happen? And you add Davante, then Jameson's going to take off. You don't add nobody with Jameson, then he going to kind of fall backwards. So it's funny. That's just how those things work. But you kind of want to see what Jameson going to do when he come back. But even with Jameson, you add Davante Adams. You got St. Brown in the slot. You got Josh Reynolds as Davante and Jameson. Relief. Khalif would be able to get better matchups. So Antoine Green would be able to learn from all those guys. So yeah, I would definitely pull the trigger on it. Seeing where we at. Right around. I mean, it's gonna be hard to judge kind of where they at with Jameson Williams coming back versus Baltimore. Only played a couple games, so you're really not worried about what Jameson Williams going to do. Now, if he come back with a bam quick versus Baltimore and he'd have a great game, then maybe you say, hold on, I mean, he may not need to do this. But is that going to be an anomaly or is that going to be the trend going forward? Don't know. But I would definitely make the call. And maybe call me crazy. Maybe I also make the call for Chandler Jones. I know he has some issues. I didn't know about his issues in New England. That's why he got traded. I forget the incident Skip Bayless said it was about something. He made a mistake. I'm not going to insinuate because I can't remember what he said live on the show. But I definitely would pull the trigger, call. I would try to get both of them. If he's mentally stable, I'm calling for Davante and Chandler Jones. I'm putting Chandler Jones on that defensive line. You probably get him for a 7th conditional 7th, 6th round pick. I'm putting him on that line. I'm bringing Davante Adams, and I'm going for it. So this is my opinion. Am I opposed to trading for Mike Evans, Cooper Kupp, or another specialty player that can run fly routes and get down the field? No. Let's say Dallas kind of think they're ready to move on from Michael Gallup. I would look at it. I wouldn't give him much for Michael Gallup, even though they just paid him. Maybe just Gallup and Dak Prescott just don't mix. Just never know. But just another idea out there. But hey, thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist, more videos like this. Hit my link tree. You can find me on Twitter, aka X, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Appreciate everybody that supports the channel. Best way to support us, thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist, more videos like this. Peace.